Nothing's really changed. It's like in America, I'm seen as black first. I'm seen as the big boogeyman to white conservatives. Like I'm a 6'7", 200 black man. I'm the scariest thing on the planet in America, right? But like outside of when I come out of the US, I'm just this corny, nerdy looking dude who just nobody's gonna care about, right? Like that they see me as a man first, as a human being. That's the difference.
Yeah. I lay on the scare, you gotta glow. You gotta glow. She had my attention, she gotta know.
I'd like to welcome everyone to another episode of the Let's Get Up podcast. I'm your host Zeke, and in this episode, I have the Blerd Explorer to speak about living in South Korea and traveling. You can find out more information about his book by clicking the link in the description below. I'd like to give a content warning for any strong language used in this episode, and hope you have a nice day and enjoy the show.
Record. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you for being interested. So, first thing I'd like to do is ask you what would your origin story be and how would you like to represent it?
So I'm Phil. My handle, I go by the Blerd Explorer. I'm from South Carolina, but I live in South Korea. I've been living here since May 2016. And at the time of recording on May 16, 2021, I basically hit my 5th year anniversary of living abroad, living in South Korea. Right now, I work as an ESL teacher at a public school in South Korea. And this is my first official time teaching in a public school setting. And I also published 2 books, like in what I started in what I call the Black Traveler's Guide series, which these are more of a test drive to see how people would demand, react to the market, see if people would be interested in this type of book, and if so, then I might consider doing more in the future.
Nice. And how would you like to represent your origin story? What kind of medium would you choose? We continue with books, or you would try to make movies, TV shows?
I think I'll continue to do books, but I think I might start doing videos in the future too. Try other avenues as well. Me personally, I have no interest to to become the big massive celebrity travel YouTuber or anything like that. Now if it does blow up, great, but I had no interest trying to be this big, be in the camera, be in the face of everybody. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather be kind of be in the background, if people like it, great, but I'd rather be in the background, to have some type of privacy,
Yeah, I feel you. Cool. With that, let's go right into your story. So you right now have a travel guide and everything like that. So what kind of brought you into traveling?
For me, I've always had the idea of traveling, but I didn't. Again, as a young black man in America, I just didn't know how to do it. I always thought traveling to other countries, that's white people stuff, right? That's used to be my mindset. And the only time I personally know of anybody traveling abroad was usually through the military. So I always thought that was my only way to be able to go to other countries, of course. It wasn't until I got into my last semester of college when I found out about the idea of teaching English abroad in South Korea. And that's what led me to, take a little more, to delve more into about the whole ESL career route. And I like the idea of that, living abroad in another country, earn some money, do some money, and also had an opportunity to travel during my off times too, pre-COVID, of course, pre-pandemic, of course. And so that's what attracted that. And this ESL lifestyle, it's attracted me to it. And I think I might keep going for a longer time.
Nice. With me, I'm somebody who hasn't traveled yet. This for other different reasons, but I'm working on that.
Yeah, sure.
So with traveling, so what kind of, since you're from South Carolina, what's the main differences you felt you learned in your travels?
One, I think traveling has opened my eyes. It showed me that one, you don't have to always live where you grew up, where you live, say where you go to school, where you go to college and stuff. You should move. Once you finish high school and college, go somewhere else. Don't stay in your same city, state, region, or even country. Just go live somewhere else. Because honestly, for me, I believe that everybody at one point in their life should go live in another city state, country, if you ever if you have the opportunity, go for it. Because I think it's the fact that if people who end up growing in the same area, in the same town, same city, and don't leave at all, except maybe to 1-2 week vacation to get in a year to go like Disney World or stuff. I mean, that's fine for some people, but it's like I believe it's important. It helps you expand your mind. It shows you that, oh, my way of lifestyle, the way I grew up, it's not always it really isn't the best. Like for example, growing up like many Americans, I grew up believing that mindset. Oh, America, we're number one. We're the best at everything, right? But I'm like, no. But living abroad, traveling stuff, I'm like, no. There's a lot of countries do a lot better things, better than us, like public transportation in South Korea. Other countries like Taiwan. You have metro systems, metro lines, trains, and everything. So getting around the country is easier and much more affordable too. And not to mention healthcare for one, for sure. That we're not. I mean, yeah, we have great healthcare if you can afford it. So, and I really have, and honestly, and for me, living abroad, especially doing something that most Black folks typically don't do, because how African Americans, particularly African Americans, we're pretty conservative. We don't do anything because we always have like this fear of what if this X country X or Y Z is going to be racist, blah blah blah. Yeah, there's going to be xenophobia between one or two people, mostly just because ignorance, like of education, because obviously being homogenous countries, people don't know much about other culture, about Black culture, except what they see on TV. But honestly, the way I see it, I tell people don't let that scare you, because honestly, if you the way I like to use comparison, but kind of hate using it. But it's like if you're a Black person, if you survived in America, you can survive anywhere else, basically.
Got it. I definitely feel like that when you kind of growing up, which is America's number one, and they just like you start seeing all the cracks in between the systems and everything like that.
You're right. And now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong loving your country, but I also believe that you shouldn't be afraid to call out on their bullshit. Like you should praise your country when it does a great job, and then call her out on her. Wait, are you allowed to swear on your podcast?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah. So yeah, you should praise your country, and you should praise your country when they do good things, and call her out on her bullshit. And I think, unfortunately, in America, like we're so polarized, we're so comfortable, like we're not Team Democrat, Team Republican. I'm like, nah. I'm calling I'm calling your shit out. I'm calling this shit side out on their bullshit. I'm calling everybody on their bullshit.
Yeah, makes sense. Definitely, don't get too complacent.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's also a big problem with showing me, traveling, living abroad. Is like never be too complacent. And also, plus, this pandemic told me that too. Like, don't be complacent. Don't try to follow the norm, like being norms, like house, wife, kids, and dog. Don't always try to follow the same trend that everybody does. Like, I think, the pandemic really taught me is like go out and enjoy life, be appreciative.
Yeah, got it. Definitely. And it was like, so why did you choose South Korea again?
It's because it's literally the only job I could find after graduation from college. Mostly due to the fact that I was looking through my university job board last semester of college, senior year, trying to find something, anything, and just sounded decent. So that's how I came over here.
Nice. And I realized, and then we were talking earlier about the time zone difference. I was just into that.
Mm-hmm. It can be a bit of a challenge, especially trying to stay in contact with family and friends, and me like trying to get in contact with different Black podcast groups and whatnot, trying to set up interviews. So it can be a bit of a challenge for sure. But I think it's it's one of the things that makes it worth it.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And then since you're Black, does your identity as a Black person change since you travel, or has it stayed the same?
Nothing's really changed. It's like in America, I'm seen as Black first. I'm seen as the big boogeyman to white conservatives. Like I'm a 6'7", 200 Black man. I'm the scariest thing on the planet in America, right? But like outside, when I come out of the US, I'm just this corny, nerdy looking dude who just nobody's gonna care about, right? Like that, they see me as a man first. That's a human being. That's the difference. That's what I noticed. Yeah, sure. I mean, my skin tone does make me stand out, especially in Asia for sure. But again, people see me as a man, like an actual person, not some big scary guy like I would be in America, where I'd be like so stressed about what's the police gonna do? What's the police gonna do? Here, I ain't gotta worry about the police. I can say, "Oh, I'm gonna go about my business, do my thing, go to work, go home, do whatever," and it's also a refreshing feeling.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I can see that. It's more of just like, I guess they don't have that prejudice like the American prejudice and racism, and
Mm,
like it's like a different thought and process and curiosity.
yeah.
And with that, do you so do you feel like a kind of relief with that, or you just kind of got used to it?
Honestly, I definitely feel a massive relief. It's just a feeling of when you leave a bad situation and go somewhere else, right? And it's like, dang, I ain't got to worry about this bad situation no more. I'm free. I can relax. I can just, I can relax. I can just be me. I ain't got to put on like some type of fake face, fake appearance, fake smile, fake all that stuff. Where I was in America, right? Now I did go back to visit family for the first time in Alabama back in 2019, February 2019. And yeah, it was nice to see family and everything, but being back in America, I felt that stress. I could feel the tension. I felt all this negative energy like all around me. And I'm thinking, you know what? Don't get me wrong, like living abroad has its pros and cons, just like anything else. But I felt happier. Like I felt less stressed. I felt cool. I felt at peace.
Mhm.
Like I felt comfortable and just living that. Now, personally, I don't see myself ever moving back to the U.S. because of that, unless I have absolutely no choice. Because living abroad for me, this works for me. Like it's not gonna be being an expat is not for everybody, but me, it fits. It suits me more.
Got it. And did you have to assimilate to the culture, or do you kind of continue some of your old like it's like habits and things you kind of kept from America?
I'll admit I kind of sometimes keep that habits. It does happen, come up time to time, but I do try to simulate. Try to follow the culture, follow the norms as best as I can. I'm still not fluent in Korean. I'm still trying to. I need to learn how to read Korean first. I can also say this: if you're interested in coming to Korea, it's very easy to learn how to read Korean. Now, speaking is a whole different ballgame, so that's a bigger challenge. But because also, here in Korea, they have their own trash system. You have to buy certain bags at the convenience stores, the grocery stores, and usually, okay, you got to separate your trash. Food waste goes in a certain bag. General stuff, trash goes in a certain no, this other bag too. And each city has their own rules for trash bags, but not everybody uses the same thing. So it can be a hassle sometimes trying to follow the norms. But again, different house, different rules, right? So it's just like your mom said when you were younger, when you go to a friend's house. This is their house. This is their rules. You got to follow them. You may not like it, but hey, their house, their rules. You got to respect it.
Hmm. Got it. Yeah, and so think about traveling. So what kind of like is it Korea? Wait, you say you're 6'7", right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you feel like you kind
Yes,
of
yes, sir.
so it's like like everything's smaller over there in terms of like this clothing.
Well, to be fair, historically, Asia has always kind of been like, small, medium-sized built nation.
Yeah.
Most of the people, especially in East Asia, like China, Japan, Vietnam. And yeah, people, not, I hate stereotyping, but it's kind of true. Now, there are a lot more tall Korean men and some women, but they have had more of a height boom over the years for sure. But for me, buying clothes can be a pain in the ass. But even if I went to, like, say, the capital Seoul to do some clothes shopping there, there's probably a good chance I won't find anything my size. So I just ship all my stuff on Amazon because it's just so much easier.
Yeah, I felt that. I'm like 6'2". Even over here in the States, I have trouble finding like sneakers and clothing
Mm-hmm.
sometimes. And I'm just like going over there is gonna be a different
Yep, sneakers, pants, shirts. I mean, there's a good chance I could. I mean, now there's a store called ABC Mart. I might have a shot with some shoes, but again, there's no guarantee.
Yeah.
So it's like the way I see it when it comes to like clothes, I'll just buy myself on Amazon and get it shipped over here. It'll take a few weeks, but that's fine. I can wait. No rush.
Mhm. So let's shift to what you're doing there as an ESL teacher. What kind of so have you taught before or just your first time teaching?
No, okay. When I had a ESL job, mostly I worked in private English academies called Hagwons for the whole time I was here. Most of them, a lot of them were pretty terrible, bad jobs, bad management and stuff. Uh, Now, I did get my first public school job in the city of Incheon, South Korea, which is near in the northern part of Korea, near the capital. And I got that job at the elementary school's English center literally as soon as the pandemic blew up around the world. Because now in South Korea, the first day of school year starts on like the first day of March, and so I got that job, and unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to teach at that job. We never opened up to classes, so I got furloughed from July to February of this year, 2021. And my contract was going to get renewed, so I actually kept looking for other jobs, and I got my current job right now. It's in the countryside on the west coast, excuse me, east coast of Korea. But I'm actually just happy I got a full time job again. The kids like me, staff seem to be cool with me, so I'm just happy to have the opportunity. And no, I'm not major wise. I'm a business major, business marketing, with books on marketing. And I never thought I would be teaching either, but I think I like it. I enjoy it. So I might consider getting a certification and stuff in the future after get some more practice and experience with this job.
Got it. 'Cause I'm a math tutor currently, and then how is like teaching? Like
Mm.
how is like teaching English as a
Mm.
in general?
Uh, Honestly, it can be challenging, teaching, trying to like figure out ways, like, making your lesson plan, like any teaching, like all teachers, like, trying to come up with lesson plan, trying to figure out how to make the lesson be more, not only engaging, but also make sure they don't feel bored. You know, it does come up with that challenge, but it is pretty fun though. I do enjoy it though. Like I said, the kids, they have a good time with the classes. I teach third to fifth grade. So the kids, like I said, they have a good time like all classrooms, you always got that one or two kids who like to talk. They're good kids, but again, sometimes they just don't know how to be quiet at times. But overall, it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy overall.
Nice. I feel like life pretty much put you in this position. It's like go here, go there.
Yeah, yeah,
Ooh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
good.
So I tried. So sometimes you know how girls we try to make a lesson plan. Sometimes you make it, and then we test it out, and we actually do the lesson. It's like, oh man, this is actually really terrible. I gotta go back and do a drawing board again. So it does happen though, but sometimes I'm willing to learn from my mistakes and try to improve
Mhm.
next time.
Got it, got it. Cool. So let's get into your book. So
Yeah.
it's called The Black Traveler's Guide to how you pronounce it? Daegu?
Daegu, Daegu, South
Daegu.
Korea. Yes.
Daegu, South Korea.
Yeah.
So what people can expect from this guide?
Well, it's simply just your typical travel guide that you can find almost anywhere. But I wanted to make it more personal, and I also focus on Black people, particularly African Americans, because for most of us, okay, let me ask you this: how many Black people that you know personally that traveled abroad that wasn't military?
A couple of friends of mine.
A couple, pretty small. Okay, okay. Usually, people I ask about this usually be zero, typically. But kids like you are pretty rare at times. But
Yeah.
again, it's mostly because when you look at travel content, like travel tourism channels, YouTube, blog posts, a lot of the content creators are white, right? And I mean, there are some great content creators. Don't get me wrong. I love a good amount of them. But sometimes, obviously, when it comes to travel, especially for Asia, East Asia particularly, a white person's experience is going to be completely different than a black person's experience. Like, now just to be clear, I also mentioned this in the book. Yes, all foreigners will get stared at. It does happen, but the amount of stares varies depending on your skin tone. So that does have, so obviously, even if a white person, black person have the same build, age, height, hair length, etc., a black person is still going to get the more looks than a white person. It's going to happen no matter what. And so this book, I wanted to help those, especially the Black community, who've never traveled before, especially with the Black hole. You're seeing a lot more Black travel, IG groups and stuff like that, Facebook groups, which is great. I love it. But there's still people who are a little bit hesitant, who just don't know either. So maybe this will help feel more comfortable about traveling abroad, especially as the first time doing so. So, like in the book, I cover things what you expect. So what it's like to be a Black person in Korea. I also this time, like my first book, I actually did a little Q&A section that asked other Black people who live in Korea, and I had them tell their stories or like what's like to be Black in Korea, their favorite city, things like that nature. And so everyone has their own stories of what they experienced. Again, same story, like people staring. Some did face, some xenophobic moments, but again, it's not really worth, crying, pulling out your phone, calling out racism, all that bullshit. And also, one thing I did mention in the book, like how in South Korea, when you're looking at when you walk around town, people, a bunch of stores and restaurants will be playing music all the time on the speakers. Sometimes you will hear uncensored hip hop. Like, for example, you will hear WAP. I heard WAP be played before on the speakers.
It's funny. And do people understand like the music, or the sound just vibing with the sounds?
I think it's about the sound because Western style music. So obviously, K-pop's popular, of course, but anything that's non-Korean, foreigner, Western style is going to be more popular, of course. So like I said, in the book, I just cover different locations you go try, like the place you go hiking, different restaurants you should try, the downtown shopping areas, whatnot. I also, like I said in the book, I did mention shopping is great in Daegu, and pretty much in Korea, in the main cities, if you're short and thin. Yeah. Now, if you got some weight on you, and then you got a hard time, then it's just don't bother shopping. If tall, big, and/or tall, don't bother shopping. Just don't waste your time on that.
And quick question: do you cut your hair, or you have somebody cut your hair for you?
I'm sorry?
Do you cut your own hair?
Yes, I cut my own hair. I've been doing it since, oh my God, almost 5 years now.
Cool. I was wondering about
it was at the time. Yeah, it was mostly due to the fact that I was living in the city at the time, and the only places where I know I could find a barbershop that could cut Black hair was in the city of Daegu, which also has an army base too, so there's a good chance I'll find one. But the problem was at the time, it would take me at least 3 hours by bus to get there on a Saturday, plus metro, plus waiting in line to get a haircut. And I was like, no, I'm not doing all that. So I decided to screw this. I'm gonna learn how to cut my own hair. And also helped there was no Black people in my other towns, in my city I was living in too. And of course, it made it easy to learn to cut my own hair. So that way, if I mess it up, I can lie to my students and say, yes, this is a popular American hairstyle.
Like, yes, we've been doing this all year. This is a new style.
Exactly. You're just following the trends. I miss things my parents have to do back home. And I just stay in my apartment for the next few weeks and my hair grows back.
Because one thing very important.
Yeah.
Is your hairstyle.
Honestly, I think that's, yeah. I mean, I don't do anything fancy because I don't have the time or the patience to learn how to do different, unique hairstyles and whatnot. And not cute too. It's just not worth it for me. But yeah, I've been cutting my own hair. Like I said, just do a little buzz cut, quick, easy.
Nice. So yeah. Back to like the book. So why did you choose like a book to be like the vehicle for your of like sharing the knowledge?
Well, I guess, yeah. One, I always do like writing. And I guess for me, because I'm not really at the time, I'm not really big in being like on YouTube right now, like trying to be in front of the camera all day, every day. I just like having more. It feels like I have more control, when it comes to writing a book, writing in general. Whereas, if you make a mistake with a book, you can always easily erase. You can always erase it, fix the mistakes, and put it back up, right? Whereas if I do a YouTube video, if I make any mistake, I can't take it out. It's just there, nothing I can do about it. And I feel it's more of a stronger outlet for me personally. Honestly, if I want to make views or make money on it, honestly YouTube would be a huge hit for me. But again, right now I'm considering it, but it's not something I'm really massively trying to get into.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay, so you talk about the
Oh, I
book.
forgot to mention in the book
Mm-hmm.
too. Oh yeah, in the book too. I also mentioned things like things that concern the Black community, like high blood pressure. Like a lot of Korean food does have a high sodium count. So if you have concern about sodium, like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, then maybe want to consider be careful about eating Korean food. And same thing with food allergies. Like if you have food allergies, like to various nuts, seeds, garlic, soy, egg, wheat, then you're gonna have a hard time in Korea. Probably Asia in general, really.
Yeah, I have like a seafood allergy and a bunch of other
Ooh,
allergies. So
yeah, then you might have a problem too, because a lot of Korean dishes use like fish sauce. Not just Korean, but other Asian countries who can use like fish sauce, fish paste too in their dishes. It's delicious though, but unlike in the West, right? Because food allergies is not very common here, so nobody really takes it seriously. Even if you try to warn like the owners of the restaurant or franchise, like say, hey, if you have like those allergy travel cards you with you, like you try to tell them, hey, I can't eat fish, I can't eat, nuts or seeds. There's still a good chance that there's cross contamination, regardless. Like in the kitchen, like there's our foods made cross contamination stuff. And I've read this on various Reddit posts, like how they try to tell the owner, like I have allergies to nuts, and they found nuts on the dish. But yeah, I mean, it's possible to travel. And like I did mention, like there are plenty of West Coast McDonald's, Subway, different other Western style restaurants, or you just go cook your own meals at Airbnb to make it easier if you do have food allergies.
got it. Cool. That good to know. I'm gonna take a note of that for myself.
Yeah. So I mean, it's possible to travel to Asia, but if you got food allergies, especially to nuts and seafood, you're gonna have a hard ass time over there. I mean, it's possible, but it's just trying to find something to eat, especially if you travel with a group, like you will struggle.
Definitely. And then let's go back to when you find a job. Was the job process similar to like it is in the States where you just put a resume in, do an interview, and go from there?
Yeah, typically, yeah. Now for now, I'm in the public school sector. Usually there are programs for public school for people who want to apply for public school jobs, for the city government and stuff like that. Now, mine was a last minute direct hire where I'm at right now. But usually there's ESL recruiters who will post the ads online, and and of course you can apply. You send an email to say, hey, I want to apply for this job number ABCD, and they'll send the resume. They'll send the resume out, and your picture with to the I guess to the boss, to the person, to the employers. And if they like you, then recruiters will email you, say, hey, they want to interview you, and they'll set up interview time. And once it's in the interview, then if you pass, they'll send you a contract. You sign the contract, and then you get a start date. Now, I will admit, unfortunately, in Korea, there is still a bit of bias. There's still a bit more preference to having a white teacher, especially a white girl from America or Canada. Like there's still that preference. It's not a secret. Like everybody knows this. So, but I mean, for Black people, you are still able to find a job. It will take a little bit more longer time, at least a decent. So don't be sad if you don't hear anything or find anything. Of course, right now because of COVID, there's been a massive uptick of people trying to come to Korea. Because people losing jobs left and right. At the time of recording, I don't recommend trying to come to Korea. If you're thinking about teaching English in Korea, I will probably hold off for another year or two.
Got it. I'll just stack my money and save my travel plans for later.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to stack my money. I gotta do better.
And since you said earlier you're gonna most likely stay abroad, which is great. So it's like you found your new home.
Yeah.
How did your family feel about that? Did they have any questions with it, or did they just go okay with it?
Like most families, think about teaching in Korea. They had the concerns about North Korea, of course, because of the news. And of course, they said my mom told me if I wanted to travel, I should just join the army, go do that. At least it's stable. And I'm like, no. If I want to travel on my own time, I need my own time to do that. And I ain't trying to copy your lifestyle. I need to do my own thing. You live your life as my time to live mine. Remember about a year or two ago, my sister was telling me one day how my family was asked her if I'm ever going to move back to the U.S. She said, hell no, he's not coming back. She was right, too. I mean, I'll come back to visit y'all, but I ain't staying.
He was like, I like it over here. It's a little better.
Yeah, and of course, they see, most of them, they see me that I'm doing happy, I'm doing my best. Of course, I'm pretty sure I got some jealous cousins and whatnot, one or two.
Like that.
But yeah, I think overall they changed their mind. They see that I'm more happy, I feel more, confident and stuff like that. So they're not as harsh, not as mad about it.
It's good. So yeah, how was the North Korea, with Trump and everything over there?
I'm not worried about North Korea. The way I see it is like this: if you don't see South Koreans screaming and running, then you got nothing to worry about.
It's like, why they running? Then all right, cool, something happened. And you gotta start running yourself. No questions asked.
Yeah. Yeah, personally, I don't think they're gonna try to start shit. Because they know, at least Kim Jong Un, the leaders, all of them, they know, if they try to start shit, that grows their power, that goes their control of the people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for them, it's more like just trying all you're gonna do is just troll, talk shit, and people send money and aid to them. That's it. But that's just me though.
Well, let's see. Let's hope it stays quiet.
Yeah, me too. I hope so too.
Yeah. So, in terms of overall, how do you entertain yourself?
Outside of teaching, usually playing PlayStation, Switch, reading, going to the gym, cooking, baking occasionally. I also do a lot of photography. I like to take pictures, go around the city, take pictures. If you see my Instagram at the Blerd Explorer, you see that I do a lot of photography uploads there. And of course, I do a little bit of writing occasionally too.
The closest I got for South Korean stuff is just South Korean Air Force Ones, flag, the white tigers.
Nice. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool. What is custom made?
No, Nike had they made them last year.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, these are cool. So what else? What else can I ask you about? So It's about like you could come back to the States, stack up on some clothes real quick, and then head back when you come to visit.
Pretty much, that's the plan. Stack up clothes, snacks, deodorant, whatever items I can't get over here, I'll stack up on that. Then you buy some electronics too, and then head back to Korea. And also get some food too, of course. Get some southern cooking. That's it.
It's like I'm here to gather supplies, say hi to family in the meantime. It's like I'm just here to pack up some more suitcases and stuff, and then we'll be back.
Pretty much, that's the plan. Take 2 big suitcases with me, stack up on them, and then head back.
So as soon as like these are the new clothes out right now.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep, that's the plan.
Happy for you. And then you say you're making a book, so there's like a series. What kind of next in the book series?
Right now I'm taking a hiatus. I have to write the second book. So I think my next plan, my plan is to actually write a whole book about the whole country. And that might take more than a year or so.
Got it.
So.
And then how is like socializing in South Korea?
Meeting people is fine. Pre-COVID, I would do there's different ways to meet other people. Obviously, this bar, you can go to bars. Usually there's always the typical, in every city, there's usually typically what you call the expat bar, because it's usually one place that all the foreigners gather around, go drink. Usually between Thursdays, Sundays, happens in different cities, of course. There's different events depending on what you're into. Like I do Super Smash Brothers, so I went to the tournament, various meetup places in Seoul that people go get together, play Smash. Also did Pokemon too, and also did Rec League for a time. Ultimate Frisbee. They have Rec League over here too, so that's usually a great way to meet people, travel around the country, South Korea, and socialize. So I used to do that a lot. Yeah, so it's pretty easy to socialize, meet people. You just got to figure out, depending on what your niche is, what you're into, of course. And usually there's probably an activity or group dedicated to that here in Korea. They could finally say, let's say, Ultimate Frisbee, you into that? There's one for that. Writers groups, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of those. Also, they usually meet up in coffee shops too, things like that. Language exchange groups. So it's pretty easy to socialize. Now, that's where expats. Korean, it can be a little bit challenging at times because obviously some Koreans in Korean culture, obviously most don't speak English. They don't feel comfortable speaking English to foreigners unless they're proficient. They don't want to lose face. They want to look like they look smart. They look impressive to be able to speak English in front of foreigners. Have a conversation. And sometimes, in some cases, usually most foreigners don't want to hang out with Koreans a whole lot. It's not because of that. It's not the bad though. Sometimes I've seen myself sometimes Koreans will just you can tell they're only using you as a foreigner as this is the black friend card basically when it comes to foreigners in Korea. So don't get me wrong. I met some really good people. One of them's a really good friend of mine right now. She and her we hung out a lot of times, talk to this day. But I was telling her sometimes you gotta be careful with Koreans because sometimes, again, it's more just like a badge of honor to say, "Look, I have a foreigner friend," basically to brag to their Korean friends and stuff. So,
got it. I think about almost 40 minutes. Maybe we could bring it to a close. So, last question I ask you is, what would you name your origin story?
My origin story. I'm not sure. I don't know what I would call it, but I don't know. It's just the guy who wanted to travel, try all the food. That's my origin story.
Nice. Well, I'd like to thank you again for joining the podcast and being interested.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. And let people know where they can find the book, when it's out, and everything like that.
Yeah, so the Black Traveler's Guide to Daegu, South Korea. Daegu, that's Daegu. And my first book, The Black Traveler's Guide to Incheon, 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 South Korea. You can find both of these books on Amazon. They're in ebook format only. You also find them on Barnes & Nobles and Apple Books too.
Got it. And when is the second book coming out?
Oh, this is out right now. You can pick it up right now.
Okay, cool. Great. And again, thank you and have a nice day.
That brings another episode of the Let's Get That podcast to a close. Again, I'd like to thank the Blerd Explorer for joining the podcast. This is the last episode for Season 5. You can find out more information about my next plans by listening to the closing episode, which is also premiering today. Hope you continue a nice day, and I hope to see you there.